Wouldn't it be great if you could ask your data anything at any time? Like, how are sales this quarter? How's the new marketing campaign performing? What does the overall health of the company look like? And actually get answers right away with charts and graphics and actionable information. You can with Domo's AI and data products platform. Domo lets you channel AI and data quickly, securely, and innovatively to deliver measurable insights wherever and whenever you need them. Anyone on your team can use Domo to easily prepare, analyze, visualize, automate, and distribute data, all amplified by AI. Domo goes beyond productivity. It's designed to transform your processes, helping you make smarter and faster decisions and drive real growth. All powered by Domo's trust, flexibility, and years of expertise in data and AI innovation. The world's best companies rely on Domo to make smarter decisions. See how Domo can help transform yours. Learn more at ai.domo.com. That's ai.domo.com.
Welcome to Season 5 of The Agile Brand with Greg Kihlstrom, where we talk with enterprise and technology platform leaders about the people, processes, and platforms that make marketing and customer experience successful, scalable, and sustainable. This is what creates an agile brand. I'm your host, Greg Kihlstrom, advisor and consultant for Fortune 1000 marketing and CX leaders and teams as principal and chief strategist at GK5A, and best-selling author, keynote speaker, entrepreneur, and agile certified coach. The Agile Brand podcast is brought to you by TEKsystems, an industry leader in full-stack technology services, talent services, and real-world application. For more information, go to teksystems.com. To sign up for the Agile Brand newsletter and get the latest insights and articles on marketing technology and CX, or to purchase a copy of my latest book, House of the Customer, go to gregkihlstrom.com. You can also find all my books on Amazon and other retailers. And now on to the show. According to a recent report titled The Tipping Point for Travel Loyalty in 2023 from iSeatz, while 61% of consumers believe that the loyalty programs they belong to are helping them to save money and get more value from their travel experience, only 51% of them visit their loyalty program website first when making travel booking decisions. What's worse, 63% of loyalty providers think they are their members' first choice. So there are some disconnects between what customers want and what they're experiencing and what loyalty programs are providing. Today, we're going to talk about the state of customer loyalty programs and the role of personalization in improving customer retention and lifetime value. To help me discuss this topic, I'd like to welcome Andy Hermo, Chief Commercial Officer at iSeatz. Andy, welcome to the show.
Hey, Greg. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. Yeah, looking forward to talking about this with you. So why don't we get started with you giving a little background on yourself as well as a little bit about what iSeatz does?
Sure. So as you already stated, I'm the Chief Commercial Officer at iSeatz. So iSeatz provides digital commerce and loyalty tech solutions to our clients to enable them to offer travel and lifestyle bookings, to help them drive greater member engagement, as well as to drive incremental revenue. So for most loyalty programs, they offer, and this is kind of loyalty in travel, they'll offer the basics, right? They'll offer air, car, hotel, et cetera. iSeatz goes beyond that, and we help our clients to create really compelling experiences for their members by enabling them to include lifestyle products, destination activities, and additional options that are all deeply integrated with their loyalty functionality. So enabling their members to earn and burn on all these additional types of options beyond their core product. So in terms of our client portfolio, we have some leading travel, hospitality, and financial services brands as our clients. So that includes American Express, Wyndham Hotels and Resorts, Intercontinental Hotels and Resorts.
Great. Wonderful. Well, so we're going to look at loyalty programs in a few ways today. So first, I wanted to start by talking about some of the disconnects, some of the things I referred to in the open, as well as customer expectations and from their loyalty program. So I mentioned there's a disconnect between how frequently or top of mind a customer may hold their customer loyalty programs. from your perspective, what are some of the challenges that are preventing customers from always going to their loyalty program provider first?
Yeah, so good question, and I think that at the core there are really two that our data always points to, and I know that my clients are always very focused on. That is number one: are they providing the breadth of options that their members are looking for in their loyalty program in terms of having the ability to have lots of optionality around the types of things that they could earn and burn their points on. If they don't provide the breadth, then their members are going to go elsewhere for the convenience of one-stop shopping. The next is value. So if a member is convinced that with their loyalty program provider that they're not finding the best value, then they're also going to search for other reasons to book elsewhere. So a little bit of data from our report that you referenced earlier. So 43% of the consumers surveyed in our study said saving money on travel is what they value most. So 43, it's not a huge number, 43%, but it's material, and providers need to get the value equation right.
Yeah, yeah. Do you think this is a communication of value that's lacking, or is it that some of the loyalty programs are simply just not providing enough value, or is it all of the
I
above?
think it has to do with communication, but I think it also has to do with, the sheer value, right? The types of
Yeah,
discounts that loyalty programs provide. So I think that, in our data, when we ask consumers what would be the driver for them to be, even, more engaged in their loyalty program, deeper discounts. I mean, they said 59% of them said that deeper discounts would be that reason.
yeah,
But there are other things, right, that are deterrents. If your loyalty program is delivering to you irrelevant offers, right? If it's difficult to understand, what are the rules or policies around, earning and redemption, and then how easy is it to actually, earn and burn your points on their site. Also, how seamless of an experience it is, and too many times, you'll be in a booking experience where now all of a sudden you're linked off to another site for the booking or for payment. So
yeah,
that's also another detractor. And then lastly, lack of personalization. Right now, I think that many loyalty members feel a much stronger connection with their streaming service provider or with Amazon than the type of loyalty program, in particular the loyalty programs in travel, that they've been deeply loyal to, for many years.
yeah.
So providers need to kind of look in the mirror and really start to focus on solving for some of these things.
Yeah, yeah. And so from the customer perspective, it may seem simple, right? It's just like, okay, well, just offer me more of what I want, and just go out and get another partner, and offer me this stuff. But obviously, from the provider standpoint, it gets complicated there, right? It's incorporating content and inventory sources. This was cited as the top area for improvement identified on the provider side in the report that I mentioned. But it could also be the need to add new features, as well as overall improving the user or customer experience. That's a lot, right? So how does a loyalty provider think about prioritizing? What do they improve, and when?
Sure. So, adding additional inventory sources, just improving the overall features and functionality of a loyalty program, all, really important. But, if you take a step back, there's some even more important first steps, right? Like, for instance, does that provider have a holistic, loyalty program strategy, right?
Yeah,
So if their strategy is kind of, independent tactics that are kind of disconnected, very short term in mind, where they're not, collectively addressing how they can maximize, deep engagement with their member throughout the entire customer journey, then the program is going to have less than acceptable results. So a holistic strategy needs to be in place. I mean, they also need to prioritize based upon what they're looking to achieve. So when they look at their program, what are the most critical priorities, right? Is it just purely increased membership, or is it improved engagement? Is it improving, customer lifetime value, or is it improving, the total spend that goes through the program? These are related, but they are, different in nature as well. And a provider needs to really focus in on what they're looking to achieve.
Yeah.
Those are certainly something that someone needs to focus on as they're trying to determine what do I focus on first. I will tell you this, and I think obviously from my background, and from what iSeatz does, we play in that intersection of travel and loyalty. So a super strong recommendation that I have for companies is, if they're not including travel rewards in their loyalty program today, they really need to, because travel rewards can help providers meet all the growth objectives that I mentioned previously.
Yeah.
A little, it was surprising when we looked at the data in our report, that of the 300 companies that we surveyed, only 32% were providing travel rewards as part of their earning and redemption options. So, that's a pretty small percentage when you have such a real opportunity in front of you, especially in light of the fact, and you'd referenced this before, that more than half, so 61% of consumers believe that their loyalty programs provide them or deliver value to them, and that's one of the main reasons why they stay engaged with that program. So
Yeah.
great news for those providers who are including travel redemption, and for those who are not, it's kind of it's a pretty clear message about an opportunity for them to focus on.
Yeah. Seems like relatively low hanging fruit for those that aren't. And, I guess for those that, whether they are or not, and, are, their loyalty programs are not top of mind, or let's say top of mind frequently as the provider may like, what would you say are some of the reasons for the disconnects here? I mean, do the loyalty providers just not have enough information about what their customers want? So is it a data issue? Is it what causes this disconnect from these loyalty programs?
Yeah, so I think that there are fundamental things. All the things that you mentioned, my response to that is yes, but
Yeah.
there are some fundamental things that kind of are precursors, right? So for instance, in many cases, companies just aren't as attuned to what their members really think or want, right? When you talked about the disconnect, earlier, that's a material disconnect. When the companies that we surveyed, when 20% of them believed that user experience was a challenge, meanwhile the consumers who we surveyed, 84% said user
Wow.
experience was a challenge. That's a big disconnect,
Yeah.
right? So, and also from from a value or delivering on needs, again, the providers, 92% of them said that their loyalty program was delivering on their members' needs, yet only 52% of the consumers or members surveyed said that the loyalty program was delivering on what they value most. So yeah, there are real disconnects. So there's being attuned to what they need. Also, technology is evolving so quickly, right? And so those providers who don't have modern tech stacks, they're going to find it increasingly harder to keep up with the evolving needs of consumers. So modern platforms, they're scalable. They more easily adapt to evolving capabilities, like all the advanced personalization type of capabilities that we're being able to, or that are coming to market now. One last thing, talent, right? Many companies just are not investing in the talent that makes up these what should be a very strategic department, right? So too often it's shared resources from the marketing organization, or there's even some part-time resources, from finance who are involved in, the loyalty department. But fully dedicated, highly talented resources are required to drive a really strategic loyalty approach.
Wouldn't it be great if you could ask your data anything at any time? Like, how are sales this quarter? How's the new marketing campaign performing? What does the overall health of the company look like? And actually get answers right away with charts and graphics and actionable information. You can with Domo's AI and data products platform. Domo lets you channel AI and data quickly, securely, and innovatively to deliver measurable insights wherever and whenever you need them. Anyone on your team can use Domo to easily prepare, analyze, visualize, automate, and distribute data, all amplified by AI. Domo goes beyond productivity. It's designed to transform your processes, helping you make smarter and faster decisions and drive real growth, all powered by Domo's trust, flexibility, and years of expertise in data and AI innovation. The world's best companies rely on Domo to make smarter decisions. See how Domo can help transform yours. Learn more at ai.domo.com. That's ai.domo.com.
Before we continue, I'd like to introduce you to a sponsor of the show, Partner Hero. Customer service outsourcing has long been available mainly to large enterprise businesses with long-term contracts and onerous procurement processes. Partner Hero is challenging business as usual and bringing the benefits of outsourcing to small and medium businesses as well as startups. With short, flexible contracts and fast ramp-up times, Partner Hero is making customer support outsourcing a viable option for small and medium businesses and startups. It's perfect for companies with seasonality expecting a temporary spike in volume or that simply need to scale up. And their focus on quality means your customers will get an experience that feels like it comes from your team. If you're ready to bring in outside customer support help for your company that feels like it's part of your existing team, check out Partner Hero. Head on over to partnerhero.com/agile, that's partnerhero.com/AGILE, to book a free consultation with their solutions team. Mention you heard about Partner Hero from the Agile brand and they'll waive the setup fee. Now let's get back to the show. I do want to get back to the personalization thing that you mentioned, because I think it's an area I wanted to talk about a little bit more today. And anybody that not only has listened to this show, but that reads stuff about marketing these days, I'm sure you've seen plenty of statistics about the power of personalization. There's a recent survey by Unsupervised that says 81% of Gen Z consumers, for instance, indicate they like personalized ads. Other generations indicate that preference, maybe not quite as much as 81%, but yet only 37% of consumers say that they receive personalized recommendations when they're booking through loyalty providers. So, if you're Gen Z, that's a huge gap. If you're other generations, maybe slightly smaller, but still a pretty big gap there. So, this seems like an easy enough solve, right? I mean, technology platforms and all those other things that you mentioned notwithstanding. So, what's standing in the way here for loyalty providers to close this gap?
Yeah. Well, listen, there is a very real reason why personalization isn't, pervasively done well, right? In like, the travel and loyalty space. And that's because it's difficult. It takes
Yeah.
real strategy. It takes real talent. It takes big data. It takes modern, capabilities from a tech stack perspective. Generally speaking, it's a pretty big investment to do it well. And there are also, I mean, it doesn't mean that some aren't doing things well now, right? So, and there are different levels of personalization. Right now, probably the most common personalization uses basic customer data, such as historical data, gender data, location detail, to tailor messages to speak directly to a specific consumer in a very individual way. But then there's hyper personalization, and hyper personalization involves the use of AI and real time data to help understand true intent, right? And true intent behind the behaviors of the individuals, which enables even more meaningful and intimate offers. So a number of companies are kind of doing that most, kind of the basic personalization very well. Some are making their way into hyper personalization, but it's not easy. And also, one of the reasons why is, well, it's more than one reason, but investment to date, personalization strategies, at least initially, have been focused on kind of small projects, small use cases, and don't focus on the entire customer journey, at every step of the process. Also, from an infrastructure perspective, scaling personalization is a material investment. It's only possible if you have really big, robust data and the technology infrastructure to be able to drive all the deep analytics that need to support having access to all that to that big data.
Yeah.
Lastly, and you touched on this before, there's a very real kind of like generational affinity for personalized content. Like you said, 81% of Gen Zers liked getting personalized ads. It was like 57% are on millennials and 43% for baby boomers. But it's funny, baby boomers, they don't even take note. I think, our data said that like 24% of the time, baby boomers recognize
Mm.
that they got a personalized recommendation in
Yeah.
the booking, during the booking experience. What they recognize, much more frequently is when they receive, a personalized offer via, a marketing email.
Right.
So this data kind of captures what I'd call more of a perception bias versus it being a bias to whether or not there are real capabilities out there that that providers are offering.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's a good distinction, and I haven't heard a lot about that talked about when we talk about personalization statistics, but I think you're right there. Also agreed. I think we're still, I work with some very large companies as a consultant, and even them, they're in the kind of what you referred to as the proof of concept and the early stage rollout of personalization. And omni-channel one-to-one is still a strategy, but it's not being executed at scale in the enterprise at this point. So it is one of those things where where does a customer loyalty program stack up in terms of prioritizing personalization and things like that. I mean, I think you've made some good cases that they should be prioritized more than they are. But just I guess for those listening out there, could you make it a little more practical? And what does it look like when personalization is done well? Do you have maybe an example?
Well, I'll talk about the what are the kind of the key characteristics of what makes up personalization kind of done well. So
Yeah.
personalization done well, it needs to deliver relevant, personalized offers. And it's really, I mentioned this before, at every step of the customer journey. So, while I'm dreaming about, where might I want to go to when I'm actually in the planning process and starting to consider options to when I'm now booking. And then when I'm in my trip, great opportunity to be delivering offers to maximize or increase the spend of that total trip, right? And then
Yeah.
lastly, after my trip, if a member is interested in going in a particular itinerary, well, there are thousands of other itineraries that they may also be interested in, right? So and the way you get there is like by having, I mentioned this before, by having a holistic vision that will evolve with your customers needs. There's also there's a big investment in building data science. So it's data science. It's building product teams that really own the evolution of
Yeah.
personalization as kind of like a core capability. And then of course the investment and the infrastructure that needs to go along with it. So certainly those are key inputs into personalization done well. But personalization, there's a very real kind of maturity curve for getting to personalization done well. So the first one is just kind of like establishing foundationally, do you understand your customer profiles? Do you understand their personas? Do you have a measurement framework that you've established to be able to track and measure effectiveness? Have you identified the internal data sources as well as potentially external data sources to incorporate into your capability? The next is going out and acquiring that data. So having the ability to capture all that customer data, capture third party data, and to be able to consume it and to have it turn into actionable tactics. And then you have leveraging that data. So how can I now take that data, increase awareness, and drive and identify the intent of the behavior of members. And lastly, and this is kind of on the most progressive side. That's leveraging, your AI and your machine learning to be able to analyze large amounts of data in real time and leverage that to deliver offers that are, that much more personally engaged with what a member is looking for. So,
Yeah.
but there are companies that are out there that are, that are doing these things, that are doing the basic, and some who are beginning to do the more, the hyper personalization, as I mentioned. And I don't want to minimize the progress that a lot of companies have made, because these accomplishments are, none of them are easy to do. So,
Yeah.
it is advancing. It's advancing very quickly. And, the proof is going to be in how quickly providers can keep up with the advancements and what their members are looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Andy, thanks so much for joining today. One last question before we wrap up here, and you've given a lot of great advice already. Talked through a number of different things here in this space, but I wonder, what's one next best action that you'd recommend for those listening that want to take a meaningful step to improving their customer loyalty program in the days ahead?
Well, I kind of have a loaded one next best action, but it is probably it's definitely the most important. And then there's a progression for how you evolve your program. But most importantly, it's having a great user experience,
Yeah.
right? Really engaging members of the program, and driving even deeper engagement. So engaging them frequently and capturing data about them throughout the entire customer journey. I know I sound a little bit like a broken record, but that's super important.
Yeah.
You also, and within that, offering, reward options that go well beyond your typical, air, car, hotel, live events, tours and activities, dining, wellness, etc. Right? Making it easy for members to earn and redeem their points. And then lastly, make the experience personal. So offering, offers that are inspiring, offers that are exclusive, that drive deep member engagement with a provider's brand. Those are the things that are going to be all part of this, this winning user experience.
Yeah. Great advice. Love it. Well, again, I'd like to thank Andy Hermo, Chief Commercial Officer at iSeatz, for joining the show. You can learn more about Andy and iSeatz by following the links in the show notes. Thanks again for listening to the Agile Brand with Greg Kihlstrom podcast, brought to you by Tech Systems. If you enjoyed the show, please take a minute to subscribe on your podcast channel of choice and leave us a rating so that others can find the show more easily. You can access more episodes of the show at www.gregkihlstrom.com. That's GREGKIHLSTROM.com. To get a copy of my latest book, House of the Customer, visit my website, or you can find it on Amazon or other retailers. The Agile Brand is produced by Missing Link, a Latina-owned, strategy-driven, creatively fueled production co-op. From ideation to creation, they craft human connections through intelligent, engaging, and informative content. Until next time, stay agile.